Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And it is a very cold, dark morning. My dog got me up so early. I'm here doing this first video of the day, and my central heating hasn't even cut in yet. But I have had a look, and there are many stories. A couple left over from yesterday, but a whole load that are new today. And one of them leaps out, and it has to be the first story, and that, of course, is the Peter Murrell £15,000 loan story. Murrell, of course, lent it in two £7,500 chunks in a snide and sneaky way, trying to avoid having to declare it. Unfortunately, he broke the rules because it was both in the same year, and therefore counts as a single receipt. But of course, Humza Yousaf is pretending that he knows nothing about it. He denies all knowledge. He's forgotten all about the incident. I have no recollection of these events. He's learnt a lot from his mentor, has he not? But he also appears to have forgotten whether Murrell still owes, or still is owed, £60,000 from the party for his loan done a few years ago as part of another kind of snide and shady deal. For a man who's supposedly running his party, he does seem awfully ignorant, doesn't he? Well, we'll have a look at this because there is obviously a lot of shady doings. And who is at the heart of it? Well, still Murrell, and so it appears is Humza Yousaf. Let's have a look. Here goes. So Alibaba denies knowledge of Peter Murrell's £15,000 loans. And again, we're using the word loan in quite the wrong way. And he refuses to say if the SNP still owes him money. Now, of course, by splitting the £15,000 that he put in into two £7,500 chunks, it makes it, or in his mind, it meant that it didn't have to declare it because the £7,500 is the limit for declarations. £7,500 or lower, you don't have to individually declare. But of course, it was all in the same year and it was from the same person, so therefore the authorities count that as a single donation, and so he should have declared it. So it is a breach of the rules, and therefore the rules have been broken, and there must be a punishment. But of course, we've covered the fact that Murrell puts this money in, then a few days later takes it back out again. Now, you have to ask, why? Now, we've got to presume that it is so that they can sort of say, look, we received £7,500 here, we received £7,500 there. People are regularly giving to the party, and they're using that as the basis to encourage other people to give to the party. That, to me, sounds like fraud. It's definitely fraud. If you were trying to sell a company, and you were loading the books, it's called, and you can put orders into the books, make it look as though your order book is full at the time of when you're selling the company, and then the people who have loaded the books cancel the orders prior to the company or after the company being sold, then, that is an absolute fraud, and that is why this needs to be investigated. And I'm not for one moment breaking the integrity of this fine, upstanding man, for whom, of course, the law is integral to his soul. He, of course, would never do anything snide, shady, illicit, illegal, or in any way indicative of any kind of corruption, I'm sure. And if you believe that, well, we'll leave that one alone. Anyway, the First Minister was asked a number of times, and a number of questions rather, about the former SNP Chief Executive's loans to the Nationalists, but he claimed that they were before his time. Well, no, it was 2018. He was there. He was definitely in the party. He was definitely a senior member of the party. He was definitely a cabinet member. So it's hardly before his time. And he could not recall when he found out about the latest £15,000 scandal. Well, of course he's going to forget everything, isn't it? I have no recollection of these events. My memory is vague. It was all such a long time ago. We're talking here about Humza Yousaf now, not Nicola Sturgeon, although the words are, of course, freely interchangeable, aren't they? Anyway, Alibaba claimed to have no knowledge about why Peter Murrell loaned the SNP £15,000 in 2018 and why the party failed to declare it to the Electoral Commission until 5 years later. Well, we know it's shady, snidey goings on. Like I say, it's an attempt at fraudulent discharge. It is a crime, allegedly. No, it's definitely a crime. No, allegedly about it. It's definitely a crime. But whether it was done deliberately is, of course, a different matter. It may just have been an inadvertent breaking of the rules and indeed law. He also refused to say if the Nationalists still owed him 60,000 from another loan in 2021. And apparently they do. The fact that he doesn't know that shows that either he's lying or he's incompetent, because any leader would know the extent of their party's books. Goes hand in hand with running an organisation. And so the question remains now is Humza Yousaf lying, in which case he's unfit to hold that senior office, or is he incompetent, in which case he's unfit to hold that senior office? Either way, it's obviously time for him to take a little stroll down to the Dole office. Anyway, the Scottish Daily Express exclusively revealed that the SNP could face another financial probe after failing to tell the election watchdog about the substantial donations from its then chief executive in 2018. He gave $7,500 in 2 instalments, weeks apart, before receiving the money back days later. And if that isn't snide and shady, I don't know what is. This was meant to be declared to the Electoral Commission as soon as possible, but it was not done so until October 2023, after they realised how much shit they were in. They thought, well, they better clear this as quickly as possible to make it look as though they're trying to be honest, even though we know there is hardly an honest bone in the SNP. A spokeswoman for the watchdog confirmed it would seek enforcement action, which includes fines, but it is going to wait until after the police investigation into the SNP finishes. Now, if they get fines, and it can be quite a substantial fine, they really don't actually have the money to pay it. They're £1 million in debt, which is why Humza Yousaf is taking the knee and kissing the ring of Brian Souter, much, of course, to the chagrin and annoyance of the Greens, particularly Patrick Purvey. He doesn't like the fact that Humza Yousaf is going to be going after Souter because the Greens don't like Souter, because Souter, of course, doesn't like the Greens. And if Souter does put money in and try to help and clear the debts of the SNP, it will come with one particular rule, one thinks, and that would be sayonara to the Greens. Mr Murrell, anyway, getting back to this, Mr Murrell also loaned the Nationalist £107,620 in 2021 to help with cash flow issues. But according to his latest financial documents, 60,000 of this remains outstanding. He needs to chase them for it. It's his money, he can claim it, and indeed he should do, before, of course, the SNP go bankrupt. He stepped down from his role last year after lying to the media and the membership and everyone about membership numbers, amongst many other things, it seems, and was later arrested by detectives as part of Operation Branchform, which we've covered 1,000 times. The First Minister was questioned about this situation on Monday, and he abdicated blame for them to the old regime, because, of course, he can't be at fault. It wasn't his fault. Big Boy did it and ran away. I wasn't there, he says, even though, of course, he was there. He said these are historic issues. A loan being paid back in October 23 is not a historic issue. It's literally a week last Thursday, isn't it? Kind of thing. When you were First Minister. This money was declared when you were First Minister. It's not historic, it's current. He says, my job since being leader of the governance of the SNP is to ensure that we're not only on a strong financial footing, which you're not, but to improve the financial oversight of the party as well. Since you've taken over, the party's gone even further into debt. So, yeah, it is a case of incompetence then, I think, more than stupidity. Although it's an argument that it could be both. He said, one of the first things I did when I became party leader, within weeks in fact, in my first NEC meeting, I instructed a governance and transparency review. He doesn't know the meaning of the word transparency. He said, it's a review which I've already taken action on, improving the financial oversight of the party. He was then asked when he found out about the £15,000 loans, but failed to say. Because, that would either make him look like he knew and didn't do anything, because it was so long ago, it was the first thing I did. Oh, so you didn't know about the loans when it was the first thing you did? Or you did know about the loans and did nothing about them until 7-8 months later? See, this is the trouble. This guy is so stupid that he forgets the lies and he doesn't understand the consequences of the things he says. But it was ever thus, wasn't it? It was ever thus. And this is the problem of allowing a knob, really, no other word for it, he's a knob, isn't he, to take control of a party when he doesn't understand what's happened, what's happening, what's going to happen, the consequences of it. He doesn't understand how his lies are always found out. He doesn't understand that nobody believes a word and everybody fact checks everything. And he doesn't understand the legal ramifications of all the shadiness that he is deeply, deeply interwoven into. I tell you, it's going to be rancid. This party is just rancid. And the trouble is the SNP supporters know this and still vote for them. What is wrong with these people? Anyway, the Daily Express, Scottish Daily Express, asked him specifically about what the loans were for, why the SNP took 5 years to submit them, and how much money it still owed Mr Murrell, but failed to get a substantial answer to any of them. He said, I'm not going to go into the SNP's finance other than what's on the public record and part of the accounts. The questions you asked me is before my time as party leader. No, they weren't. You were party leader in October. Lies. Lies. Literally lying there and then. On the Electoral Commission's loan page, just over £60,000 of the loan is still outstanding. The latest SNP accounts put them £800,000 in the red as police investigate whether the £660,000 of ring-fenced IndyRef 2 funds were spent elsewhere. Now that £800,000 was the latest accounts from 2022. You can guarantee by now they're over £1 million in the red. And it doesn't take much, just one person to go and ask for a bill to be paid and they refuse to pay it, and they can go and ask for a winding up order. And the moment a winding up order is asked for, it doesn't necessarily happen there and then, but the moment a winding up order is asked for via a court, the court will ask for a full audit, and because it has to. And at that moment, let me just tell you, little bottoms will be puckering. Might be worth doing it. Anyway, an SNP spokeswoman said 2 short-term loans of £7,500 were made in March and April 2018, and each was repaid after a few days. And while the individual loans of £7,500 do not require reporting, we accept that as both loans were in the same calendar year, they should have been reported, and that is what we did 5 years later when we knew we were about to be found out. Also, they knew it was unreportable, which is why they did it in £7,500 tranches and then took them back out days later, because sheer snidey cover-up, sleek it, corrupt illegality, let's build the books, let's, cook in the books, isn't it? Trying to make it look as though they're better than they are, to try and encourage others to pour money into this criminal organisation. There we go. I'm coming up. What a great video to start the day. I hope it's earned a subscription. So what do we think? Humza Yousaf being stupid, deliberately lying, trying to cover up the facts, or is he just incompetent? Yeah, I think we can all make our mind up, can't we? I never believe a word he says because we know every time he opens his mouth, lies come out. But you can't help but think a lot of it, of course, is down to his basic stupidity. He has to lie because he knows he's so stupid that the truth would be awful for him. He also knows the truth is awful anyway because, it's such a criminal bunch of crooked, corrupt, malfeasance-laden, vile, obnoxious pile of crap that they daren't tell the truth. Anyhow, ho, there we go. Thanks very much for watching. I hope that's earned a subscription. Do please hit that button. Also, hit the like button. Ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment. Please share the video. Until next time, stay safe, stay well, and I will speak to you later. Hopefully it'll be a bit warmer. Bye.